fear freezes, it misdirects, and it confuses. July 30, 2014. Here in the spiritual realms, the numerous levels or areas beyond your illusory 3D environment, we are very busy preparing for your awakening and adding the finishing touches to the great celebration that has been prepared to welcome you home. And yes, of course, celebrations have often been talked about in reference to humanity's awakening, so your interest now is undoubtedly in the actualization of those celebrations. In fact, when we try to suggest timelines bearing in mind that time is of the illusion, but time is what you experience, and the seemingly endless waiting is very stressful, tiring, and disappointing for you. The awakening will happen soon, and in reality it has already happened, because you never went to sleep for more than the briefest instant, but it still seems to you, caught up in the apparent reality of the illusion, that you have been kept interminably waiting for this wondrous event. And we work hard to help you keep your spirits up while you wait by encouraging you to focus on its inevitability and its imminence. Deep within you, and for the most part barely accessible to you, you do know that awakening is imminent and inevitable, but, as you struggle with daily life and the hope and intense desire to awaken, that waiting can be exhausting, debilitating, and extremely frustrating. That is why it is so extremely important to visit your inner and sacred sanctuary daily, and remain there until you feel a sense of relief, a strengthening of your faith, the warmth of our love for you, and even a sense of amusement as you consider that when you have awakened and the illusion is gone, you will be absolutely overflowing with delight and merriment. To remain focused on the inevitability of humanity's awakening is essential. Do not be distracted by the depressing bad news events on which the media and indeed the general populace place almost their entire attention. As you go within, feel the love, feel the intense inner knowing that the divine plan is unfolding just as divinely intended, and remind yourselves that the will of God, the will of the One, your will is always achieved. We know how difficult it is for you to detach from the unreality of the illusion because your physical bodies are anchored there, and you are apparently anchored and constrained within them, experiencing all the physical sensations on which they depend for feedback so that they can remain strong and healthy. It is indeed confusing and unsettling for you, and even more so when you suffer illness or injury and the further restrictions those conditions impose on you. For you it is an enormous paradox, an incomprehensible state of affairs, over which it seems that you have almost no control, especially as part of the experience of being embodied, is to learn to control the body and have it behave as you desire. We do understand, and we are deluging you with spiritual assistance in every moment. To which you no doubt feel like replying, well, how about some physical assistance that we can feel and enjoy? And you of course then answer that question immediately by reminding yourselves that you do feel assisted when you go quietly within and allow the distractions that plague you to fade away for a moment or two. We are constantly with you, supporting and encouraging you, and we will never leave you on your own, even for an instant, because it is our lovingly assigned duty and a great honor to be with you while you work so diligently to bring humanity back to wakefulness. You have all adopted the intent to awaken. You did it before you incarnated to experience this lifetime, and although you often forget your spiritual purpose as you go about the daily business of just being human, the intent remains firmly established within you. It is an intent that will not be overridden. The fact that you forget you made it, feel that you are not competent for the task you have undertaken, and doubt your ability to actualize it, cannot in any way interfere with the divinely guaranteed outcome. All will awaken. Think of all those you know and love in this lifetime, remind yourselves how dear they are to you, bask in the feelings of warmth those thoughts of them bring to you. When you do this, the flow of the divine love through you, as a channel or conduit to humanity and to Gaia, strengthens and intensifies. This was the vision that you embraced prior to incarnating, you, an unobstructed gateway into the illusion, through whom love flows continuously, like a vast snow melt, as frozen hearts soften, dissolve, mix, and integrate into that wondrous all-pervasive tsunami of love, the one, of which you are all essential aspects. You are bringing humanity to wakefulness. It is apparent everywhere when you open your eyes to see, instead of allowing yourselves to be numbed into a state of severe depression and hopelessness, by the outpourings of doom and gloom with which the mainstream media attempt to force-feed you daily. Prove it to yourselves by going online and just searching out some good news to counteract the depressive effects of the media's never-ending flow of misery that they would have you believe is the overall state of affairs planet-wide. Yes, there is misery in many places, all of which can be remedied, and to be aware that this is so and to send love to those who are suffering is a major part of your work on earth. But the good, the inspiring, and the uplifting happenings far outweigh, by an order of magnitude, what those who pull the strings on the world stage and in the mainstream media wish to direct and focus your attention on in order to keep you in fear. Fear freezes, it misdirects, and it confuses. Just look at some of the political discussions and arguments that are reported by the media. They frequently do not address the real issues, just the symptoms, which are then dealt with at length, and with little if any wisdom. Love is your nature, humanity's nature, and it will always be your nature. Its apparent lack in the illusion is only apparent. You see it flowing freely in areas where natural disasters occur, even if only fleetingly in the immediate aftermath. Then fear is allowed back in, as shortage of the necessities of life encourages people to fight for them. But truly there are no real shortages. Gaia provides amply and abundantly for all on the planet. Shortages are constructed to enable the authorities to regain control. You have all seen this happen. And yet there are millions of kind and generous souls spending their lives far from home and loved ones to relieve these unreal shortages and support those in need. They experience severe frustrations with the inadequacies of the systems, meant to assist them, that prevent them from doing their jobs properly. The will to good is there, as is the love to support it and ensure that it is achieved. You see this happening after floods, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions as neighbor helps neighbor and even the military cooperate. Then very quickly the authorities take control and the freely flowing kindness, compassion, and cooperation cease as agencies argue with one another over who is in charge. When love flows, no one is in charge. There is no need because all can see what needs to be done, and each does what is required and what her competence enables her to do, and a synergistic and cooperative flow ensues in which all are most effectively engaged. Love is always the answer, whatever the situation, the problem, or the issue that needs to be attended to. So continue to be loving, to extend love to all with whom you relate or with whom you interact, and to those who appear to be causing the problems and the suffering that plagues the world, and by doing so awaken humanity. That is why you incarnated, and I assure you that you are totally capable of achieving what you set out to do. With so very much love, Saul. Channeled by John Smallman. johnsmallman.wordpress.com